But we've got to do this like they're playing like.
Well, I knew we were gonna have to do
9
some
lines.
changes. I think I was there for all of that part.
So the pumps are somewhere between 15 and 500 gallons a minute.
Something we do through the summer.
They're screwing now. Usually you adjust the impeller to change the speed
Disagree.
to one speed, so man, handle
Good money away.
variable speed, they can pump super slow,
You could spend half that
but they're controlled by a speed.
and get you like,
That's the only other than putting in.
the summer just started.
6%. That's the only way you can
It's gonna cost more than that.
So then we find out. I remember conversations with.
You're gonna use half the electricity that you're gonna use.
That's what I was looking through.
All right, for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the April 20th, 2026 City of Abilene Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harris.
Here.
Alderman Hendricks.
Here.
Alderman Allen.
Here.
Alderman Dow.
Here.
Alderman Swearingen.
Here.
Alderman Thomas.
Here.
Alderman Brooks.
Here.
Alderman Thompson.
Here.
Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Attorney Jack Ball.
Here.
Engineer Neil Smith.
Here.
Treasurer Susan Schiff.
You have before you the minutes of the previous council meeting. There are no additions or changes. Take a motion to approve those.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as read. A second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the previous council meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Opening remarks. I have a couple, and I see a couple of them are in old business, so that's good. The first, I wanted to pass on a compliment. We got a compliment from a resident here in town regarding our street workers. Been doing a fantastic job. I agreed with what he was talking about, and we're gonna pass that along. Also, I wanted to ask, I had a question about the sirens. Over the last week, some sirens have been going off, tornadoes and whatnot. My phone was going off. The sirens that are here in town, I know that they get tested. Who actually sounds them? I mean, if there's a.
It used to be the chief of police.
Yeah, it's the county. Yeah.
County does it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I
But
can pass that
The
information
chief,
on.
the fire department has, they can do it too.
Yeah, because I knew.
They have the keypad too.
Yeah, and I know when we had the police department, the county sends the signal. Because I remember there was one time when when Manjeri was still an officer, county sent the signal, and then she had to go and physically. But it's
Yeah, you
all
gotta key it
county.
in.
Yeah.
There should be a keypad over there.
So the answer is the county.
Yeah, it starts at the county.
The
Yeah,
county takes care of that. If they need to be turned on, they turn them on.
yeah.
Okay. That's a good question. Okay, my next question is, we're all, been seeing the progress over here on Main Street, and I've been asked what the plans are. I said, well, I don't know what the plans are, if you will. Typically in the past, we dealt with properties like that by putting them out for a bid or whatever. I don't know if this one might be a little bit different because it's on Main Street, so I want to. Lot over there. It's a pretty good sized lot. It's a pretty good spot. Sorry. So start thinking about what what the plans are for the lot. If we just want to handle it like we usually do, or if we want to do something different. I do have an update on the Briggs property. That ugly face that's on the sign over there. I've been in contact with him a couple of times. There's actually 2 people who got bids in on that. So they're they're negotiating that. We're pretty close to having that sold. And that'll be, get it back on the tax, tax roll, which would be fantastic. And we got somebody on the hook for the cleanup and all that other stuff. Trailer park. Sent the ordinance officer over there because if you've been by trailer park at all recently, you will see it looks, well, it's in a bad way. It has been for a long time. And if you guys remember, a couple of months ago, Michelle Dennis came up here and shared with, because she was the new caretaker, if you will, or the manager, site manager of the trailer park. They had all these big plans of single family dwellings and all that, whatever. Well, the bottom line is it went back to the bank. We found this out, and it went back to the bank. This is dated February 26th. So, a bank in Sterling, Illinois, Sterling Federal. So, does that put the bank responsible for the conditions of the property?
I think the bank purchased the property at the sale for some part of what was owed them. I can verify that, but we had filed an answer asserting our lien because we had some liens against the property. But the liens were subordinate to the bank's mortgage, meaning they came after that time. So the bank was able to go ahead and foreclose on the property, their mortgage, and wipe out, if you will, the liens that we had. But at this point in time, if they've actually gone to the sale, which I think they have, they're the owner of the property, and the next step would be to make the demand on the bank to clean up the property.
Perfect.
I got a question on that. Isn't that in county instead of city?
Small part of it.
Just, there's only a part of it.
Part of it is city, part of it is county.
So the county part, I mean, how can we
We
push to
can't,
get it cleaned up?
we can't do
if
anything
it's
with
in
the
the
county
county.
part of it. We can put pressure on the owner with respect to that part that's within the corporate boundaries of the city.
So I wanted to share that with you guys, let you know that it's under bank ownership now, or however that whole process works. I'll give that to you. If you want that, Jack.
How do we do the water since they're so far behind?
There are, according to the ordinance officer, around 14 residents. Are they still, who gets the water bills? Is it still,
It should be the
oh, the
resident.
bank. She starts at, it goes to the bank.
It does? Well,
The residents are supposed to pay the bank and the bank's supposed to pay the bill.
So we finally got the person that needed to be contacted about that disaster that's over there. So we're still working, we're working on that. Everything else I have is covered under old business. Are there any additions to the agenda?
I have one, Your Honor. I'd like to add bids for replacement of the water meter at the Lake Bracken Junction where the water transfers from Galesburg to Abingdon. They really would like to have us get that done. We're a little late in getting it done.
Is that new or old business?
I'd like to push it through to get it done.
We talked about that before, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
Let me put it under.
do we have the meters?
We have the meter. We just need to get it installed.
Just put that under old business number 10.
Yeah, and it's not a huge cost to get
Are there
it
any
done.
other additions?
Yes, I would like to discuss honor guard and volunteer services.
Yes, sir. Scoreboard.
Scoreboard. Any other additions? Okay. We will go to submit bills for payment. We'll start with the admin. Alderman Hayes.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, fellow council members. General Corp's March 2026 revenues were $76,034.52. Expenses were $98,426.14. Administration's expenses were $10,766.58. Administration's wages were $10,006.70.
Any questions for Ellen? Thank you. We'll go to streets, water, and EPC. Alderman Allen.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and fellow council members. For the month of March 2026, street department expenses were $13,493.65. Wages were $6,387.97. The water department had expenses of $50,641.40. Wages of $7,930.64. And the EPC department had expenses of $33,787.40 and wages of $5,275.40.
Any questions for Terry? Thank you, sir. Next, we will move to the police department. Alderman Smerge.
Honorable Mayor, fellow council members, Police Department expenses for March 2026, $41,494.40.
Any questions for Ed? Thank you, sir. Next, we will go to the cemetery department. Alderman Dow.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, fellow council members. The cemetery department's expenses for March were $3,558.01, and wages were $4,296.82.
Any questions for Tiffany? Thank you. Next, we will go to park. Alderman Thomas.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, fellow council members. Parks for March, expenses were $4,117.63, and wages were $4,077.45.
Any questions for Doug?
Learn how to talk.
Thank you. And EDC, Alderman Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor and fellow council members. The EDC department's March 2026 expenses were $64.97 and wages were $0.
Any questions for Terry?
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the bills for March 2026. Do a roll call, please.
Alderman Thomas.
Aye.
Alderman Brooks.
Aye.
Alderman Thompson.
Aye.
Alderman Harrison.
Aye.
Alderman Hendricks.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Dow.
Aye.
Alderman Swearingen.
Aye.
Thank you for that. Next, we will move to the engineer's report. Neil?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. Your motor fuel tax, we got the letter today that it's approved already. We submitted it in February, so we had to remove a couple of things to comply with their rules. I'll get with Jeremy tomorrow. Not everything can be purchased yet. Some of it has to go through a bidding process, so I'll get with him and explain what can be done and what can't. The sludge pumps at the wastewater plant. I met Terry out there and operator Michael Gibbs and a representative from Gas Voda last week. The pumps have to run on a VFD, variable frequency drive, which is like it's like a dimmer switch. That's how I understand it. You can ramp the pumps up and down with this thing. Those VFDs aren't good on Delta Power, which is a version of three-phase. It's like a false version of three-phase power. So we have to do a little adaptation to that. It's underway and it should be done tomorrow, and I'll update the specs. And if you guys are ready, we can put that thing out to bid. Ideally, we'll do it in the summer months when it's dry so we can shut tanks out there towards the back. We can turn one of those off, direct all the flow to it, and or to the other one and pump only out of one of them instead of out of two. So that'll save some money on the project if you don't have to have two bypass pumps going. That being said, I think when we look at this next phase of the sewer plant rehab, we need to try to get a hold of Ameren. The city will have to contact them. I can't do it, to try to see what it'll take to get three-phase power out there. It'll build some more efficiency in your parts, and it's a lot easier to get things that run on three-phase than this imposter three-phase that's out there right now. Any questions? Crystal clear?
Yeah, explain it again.
Clear as mud.
This is clear as the stuff that goes through the sewer plant.
Yep.
Any questions for Neil? Thank you, sir.
I didn't say it.
Next, we'll move to the attorney's report. Jeff?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, council members. Everything I would report on is contained in the old business section, so I'll speak to those issues then.
Perfect. Any questions for Jack? Probably later. Okay, treasurer's report. Susie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did want to report that we got our first 1% grocery tax payment this month. They were paying for January in the amount of $3,461.91. So if it stays about that average throughout the year, that should cover our wage increases that we approved at the last meeting. So that's good news there.
Anything else?
The rest I'll hit when we
Okay.
get down to
Okay.
the old business.
Any questions for treasurer? Thank you. Next we'll go to superintendent's report.
Thank
Jeremy?
you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. Mowing season's upon us, as you know. So the guys, Chris is sitting right here, he can vouch for it. He's doing a lot of mowing. To get off, I can't wait for the part-time people to start so we can alleviate these guys on some stuff. Other than that, we're just mowing. Chuck's out to the ballpark helping us get that thing set up out there. You were out striping today, correct, Chuck? Thank you for that.
Setting bases.
Setting bases. Awesome. So, yeah, other than that, just a normal work other than the mowing. It's going to be excessive for a while, I think, between the rains, but we'll get through it. And when part-time gets here, we'll go on from there. We've just kind of been working with Neil on some sewer stuff, motor fuel tax money, that's just busy.
Any questions for Jeremy?
Do we have a start date on the part-time people? On the mower?
It just,
Nobody told me when to call and tell them to.
cemetery guys can start whenever. Slick's ready for them.
As I say, if you're interested in the cemetery starting TIF, I
Yeah.
think you could use them,
Yeah, talk to Slick. If he's ready for them, they can start.
or maybe bring one of them in and kind of.
I'll give Mark a call then, see if he's ready for his guy too.
So, but yeah,
It's biting at the bit.
yeah, I would think that now would be about a
you-
good time for the
yeah.
cemeteries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your knees and shoulder are bad, so you can't do it.
Yep, I can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
You got too many.
Okay, sounds like we'll be getting our part-timers called up and getting them on the mowers. Speaking of mowing, we do have an ordinance. I just want to remind everybody, we got an ordinance that prevents residents from blowing their clippings into the street. We have to remind people of that every once in a while. There is an ordinance in place for that. Okay. Under old business now. Number one is 26-27 budgets.
Star made everybody copies of our budgets and emailed. I think everybody gets emails
Yeah.
too. Okay. So, anybody have? any
What if,
questions?
yeah, what if I told you I could knock $35,000 off of my budget?
Well, I saw that email. With respect to the budget item on the mausoleum, that's your 35,000,
Mhm.
isn't it?
Mhm.
Okay, so again, remember that what your budgets, your appropriation ordinance is nothing more than you appropriating the funds.
Right.
Doesn't mean you have to spend the funds.
Right.
So if you didn't appropriate the mausoleum, you took it off, and then somehow you needed $5,000 towards the mausoleum, you wouldn't be able to do it. You would have to then go through the process of amending the appropriation to now appropriated, you're not obligated to spend it.
Okay.
So it can just sit on there.
Okay. So I emailed Patience. I forgot to CC you in on the emails. Sorry. I emailed Patience during the last meeting. Jeremy had gotten a quote from John Haynes to fix the mausoleum, power wash, rebuild the quarters that are deteriorating, tuck point, acid wash the structure, and apply sealer for $6,500. I sent the bid to Patience, and she emailed back that she had talked to her siblings. They are willing to pay $3,300 of that if we would pick up the other 32. So with that being said, that should fix the building. We don't have to take anybody out. We don't have to demolish it. We just have John fix it. And
Yeah, again, that's wonderful news. But again, I think you leave your $35,000.
You wanna leave it?
Budget, and then you only spend what you need to spend.
okay.
I mean, she's telling you she's gonna do that, but what if they
Okay.
changed their mind and you reduced it down to your two-thirds
Okay.
responsibility, then they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure who's working with Haynes and who's actually contracting him to do it. Whether that's the city with an agreement that she's gonna pay in a third or what.
That's what
I
we
just
would
leave it
do.
on the budget. If you don't spend it, everybody else will spend
Okay.
it for you.
Well, then that means
Well, no,
I'm
you saved
getting
it,
a
so it's
skid
yours.
steer. Nuh-uh, I'm getting a skid steer.
They can't get into it 'cause you budgeted.
We're getting a skid steer. I did good work, Susie. I should get the skid steer.
Not for that kind of money.
Is
Sorry.
there any other
Sorry.
discussion about the budget?
Yeah, does anybody have anything?
I vote that we approve the budget for the 2026-2027 fiscal year.
I second.
The motion has been made and
That's right.
seconded to,
Oh, I guess we should say for the amount, huh? For $3,350,000.
Well, you could say as presented because
Thank you.
there's some tax areas.
Thank
that
you.
will be added
It's
to
been a
the
long
ordinance.
day. Thank you. What Jack said.
we have a motion and a second to approve the 26-27 City of Abington budget. We'll do a roll call, please.
Alderman Thomas.
Aye.
Alderman Brooks.
Aye.
Alderman Thompson.
Aye.
Alderman Harrison.
Aye.
Alderman Hinder.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Dow.
Aye.
Alderman Fritz.
Aye.
I'll do it the same.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. A lot of behind the scenes, a lot of erasing, a lot of numbers, a lot of calculators go into that every year, and appreciate that. That's now that that's done, we can get to other stuff. Okay. Number 2 under old business is Dr. Livingston Brownfield Land Bank.
And I have nothing new for that.
Carry it over.
Honestly, to be truthful, I'd say no. It's a 3-year commitment, and I don't know comfortably with the budget stuff. I don't see how we should stick with one unless we shop around for something like that might have offer more, and I don't know if it's something we want to get into for that length of time right now.
Why don't we table it, have the other people come back, and then look and see if there's anybody else that offers at a different price, and
Price
then
is something that might benefit
go
us.
from there.
Did the committee meet and discuss that?
Not yet. Those are my honest thoughts with it. There's nothing, I haven't added any more to it.
I think we should shop around. I'm on the committee.
So,
If I remember right, it was around a $3,000-ish membership.
Each year.
Yeah, it's gonna cost us,
Yeah.
what, $8,000, close to $8,000 by the time we're all done. So
I mean, I like the idea of it. I think
There's
it's
a lot
a
of
good
opportunity
idea.
there. I hate to just say it, not get discussed. So when you say shop around, what does that mean?
It kind of offers the same things as the other company we brought in too. I don't think theirs was a 3-year commitment. I think if we were to look into other aspects of it, besides just committing 3 years to one thing, I'd like for us to see if there's something else out there as well. that's going
Okay.
to benefit us more than just
Well, in the other company too, they were more than a land bank. They kind of
Yeah.
helped with
overall. multiple
overall, like
things.
Okay.
even
Had kind of dealings in that too to kind of help us with ideas with that
Yeah.
as well. So
All
that
the
was kind
vacant
of
lots.
yeah.
So we'll leave this on there.
Okay.
Get more information before we kick it off. Okay with that?
fine.
All right. Number 3 is new CPA. Treasurer Shin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did get the bid from the Monmouth firm, West Central CPA, this last week. And I'll just tell you, they are $8,000 higher than the Peoria firm. And for what they would be doing for a set amount of money, it is not worth
And they
looking at that one any
farm
further.
everything out, so it's not even in-house. I like the idea of the Peoria firm because even though there might be 3 employees working, they're all in the same office and they're all on a team.
And
So,
that one is the better price.
yeah.
So my suggestion would be the Genoli. And I think you guys already have copies
Yeah.
of that.
So I'll make the motion. that-
And the maximum is 11,500.
Do we want to just go 12?
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed 11,500.
That's fine.
Their
Okay.
quote is.
I'll second that.
The motion has been made and seconded to approve Genoli and Company, Peoria as the new CPA. Get a roll call then.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Thomas,
Aye.
Alderman Brooks.
Aye.
Alderman Thompson,
Aye.
Alderman Harrison,
Aye.
Alderman Hendricks.
Aye.
Alderman Allen,
Aye.
Alderman Dow,
Aye.
Alderman Strayer.
Aye.
Thank you for that. Next, number 4, employee time clock and lunches. Alderman Hendricks.
That was kind of something I'm working on, and I'm still working on it. I don't have the changes that were discussed
Okay.
at the last council meeting,
Okay.
all put all together. So
All
I'll
right.
have those out to you before the next meeting.
We will bring that back next time.
I have a question.
Does anybody have anything?
On the weekend work, the checks, I thought we agreed that it would be time and a half.
The
On the
weekend was
checks.
gonna be a minimum, the weekend was, they get paid for a minimum of 2.5
Correct, of overtime,
of overtime, right?
right, and 1 hour
1 hour if it's a
For
call
call
out
out.
after hours.
overtime. So it shouldn't mean if they had a holiday in there, they still get the 2.5 hours overtime.
Well, let's stick to.
Or-
All I know is what we just, my notes just reflect what was
Yes.
discussed, and I don't know that a holiday was mentioned, John.
Well,
I think
I
what we
mean,
talked
I mean,
about was-
if they took like vacation that week or whatever, if they was on checks for the weekend, it shouldn't be regular time. It should be time and a half.
I think that's what was said, was that it would be 2.5 hours of overtime.
Correct.
And the other one was 1 hour of overtime on
Right.
call.
No matter
I don't think
what
anybody's- I don't
what
think
happened
anybody's
during the
disagreeing
week.
with what you're saying.
What?
I don't think anybody's disagreeing with what you're saying.
The issue is that some employees, their overtime's getting put on straight time
Yes.
because of the holiday from, what was it, Good Friday? Or,
Good Friday and
yeah.
somebody had a PTO day. And
Okay, that's really not for now. I mean, we can go through, I mean, if there's an issue with payroll, and we need to get a hold of the person that does payroll and resolve it that way. I mean, not really up here. There's all kinds of problems with payroll right now. That is not the only issue. So if there's an employee not getting paid correctly, they need to come up here and talk to the person that does payroll and find out why.
Okay.
Is any more discussion regarding time clock and lunches? Okay, thank you for that. Number 5 is zoning board. We talked about that at the last meeting. Jack had made mention during his research, there's also a planning board.
Correct.
That's news to me.
When I started researching the issue on whether the council had authority to go ahead and terminate the zoning board and transfer their powers and authority to the city council, I saw that we had a planning board that I'm not aware that has ever been utilized for anything. That plans the expansion of the corporate boundaries and of the city of Abington. So it's basically looks like it was composed of the same persons that were a member of the zoning board. So it does appear that the city council created the zoning board and therefore has the right to go ahead and terminate the zoning board if the council chooses to. My suggestion would be that you would terminate both the provisions in the city code for the zoning board and for the planning commission, and then have all that power and authority revested into the city council. And then you folks would undertake all of the hearings and considering the complaints and other things that the zoning board otherwise would be considering, and the planning board.
Any thoughts on what we discussed regarding the zoning board and now the planning board?
And the
Love to see it go away.
would you appreciate it if we took this off your plate, Mrs.
Well,
Thomas?
a lot of what I saw was when we first started meeting, we met quite a bit to begin with.
Mhm.
And then it ended up that a lot of the things we started discussing actually were ordinances rather than zoning issues. So then, I'm not saying we wasted our time, but so that turned into an ordinance rather than zoning. And then we did do some work that was overturned by the city council anyway. So we spent a lot of time and effort, and then the council, they didn't go with it anyway. So,
Okay.
I mean, you guys have the power to do what you want to do, no matter what the zoning board says. So, I don't know. It's not that I didn't,
No, I just wanted to.
enjoy doing it and helping and all that, but if it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we don't meet that much now, hardly at all. I mean, there aren't a lot of zoning issues that, we had one that came up with the gas station down there, and then I talked to Jason. And we were discussing just, is it really necessary? So.
Okay.
And, we all are aware of the staffing issues on the zoning board anyway. So, what's your pleasure?
I recommend we do away with both the planning and the zoning board.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to terminate the zoning board and the planning board. Roll call now.
Yes, please.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Thomas.
Aye.
Alderman Brooks.
Aye.
Alderman Thompson.
Aye.
Alderman Harrison.
Aye.
Alderman Hendricks.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Dow.
Aye.
Alderman Swears.
Aye.
Thank you for that, and thank you for your service over the years on the zoning board. Appreciate it. Next, we will move on to number 6. That's leak detection. Alderman Thompson.
Superintendent Derry reached out to IRWA, and they're going to come on the 28th to start discussing the plan. Because we are a part of that association, it is free to us. We're going to go with what they look at and what they find. And if we still feel like there's still something missing, then we will look into getting the bids for the companies that do the more expensive routes. So.
Yeah, that's great news. Thank you for that. Are there any questions for Alderman Thompson? Next, we will move to the Ameren agreement. Jack?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, council members. I think I had emailed out to everybody a copy of both of the agreements. There was an agreement from 2001, which was the original agreement that was set for 30 years or something. 25 years. And so they proposed a new agreement, I sent it to you folks to consider. There aren't, and I think I identified what the differences really were. The major difference was the term, and the difference was that they were going to pay a set amount for the first 5-year period, and then different amount for the 3-year period, and then on an annual basis thereafter. And they had specified the amounts, whereas the contract from 2001 didn't refer to a specific amount. So I didn't know what you'd received from Ameren during the period of time prior to this coming out. So there was no way for me to compare how much they were offering to pay with what you had previously received, which is why I sent it out to you. And I'm not sure where that stands.
I've got all the bills, but I haven't gotten it put together on what their, what their portion was.
What you got out of it,
Right.
right?
I haven't put it together yet.
Yeah, in the agreement, it said they were supposed to give us 60% of our street light.
Right,
for our
and the
service.
new agreement just is a flat
The
dollar
flat.
figure. So you can continue that and put those numbers together, and Star, if you get them out, then you guys can compare. But I don't know what options you really have. That's the only agreement. Your agreement's going to expire in September. And they're not proposing anything else. So unless you think you're in a position to leverage the state or Ameren and get them to do something different, the agreement would just expire altogether. So you wouldn't be getting 60%. At least this way, you're getting a certain dollar figure.
They also have a clause in here that if our population changes
Right.
3%,
They can
that
adjust
we
it.
can renegotiate.
Mhm.
Everybody's okay, we'll bring that back. Get some more. Okay, thank you. Next is the Frontier Verizon Agreement Grant Permit. Are there any permits that are required for those in the audience that weren't here last time? We had a presentation, Frontier, been bought out by Verizon, and they are going to equip this town with fiber. So there will be a competitor in this town with fiber. And they were also going to make it available for rural residents. As it stands now in this town, not even the whole town has access to fiber. With Frontier Verizon, they will. So that's what we're talking about here. Is there, I'm not aware of any, do they need any permits?
I don't know what they might need. I looked at the gentleman who was here last time gave me a copy of a contract that they had with another municipality that would be a sample to be used as a sample of what they would be doing with the city of Abington. It looks like for the most part, they're using existing lines in order to do it. They're taking the copper and that out and they're putting in their fiber. Now the extension to those areas where there wasn't any other service whatsoever, then it'd be new lines that would be laid. But everything's to be underground. There were specifics so that it didn't interfere with your utilities and other existing lines that might be underground. There were a lot of provisions for making sure that was okay. And it looked to me pretty much just as they indicated that they'd be working with the superintendent of public works very closely in order to lay those lines. So I'm not sure that the city has to give them any permits. It indicates in that proposed agreement, of course, that the city would cooperate to give them the permits necessary for them to facilitate what their plan was. But
I've not read through all of the agreement, but my understanding when he was here, they were wanting to put as much as possible above ground.
Yeah.
On existing
Oh,
poles.
okay.
Yeah.
On existing
On
poles.
existing poles.
Yeah, a high percentage above ground.
Yeah, because that's a lot faster and a lot less expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're on.
That's right, and we don't.
I think, didn't he say a month, their monthly billing was like $29?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
had a
So it's a
plan.
substantially, I mean, it'd be good to have a competitor, in town with fiber. So,
But a lot of that proposed agreement did go to where they were going to set those underground. Now, maybe that's just because they didn't need to be as specific about what it was above ground, but the underground was laid out in a lot of detail.
So if nobody is aware of any permits that need to be granted now, I don't see why they can't just go ahead and, I think they were gonna start in the middle of the summer or something, wasn't they? Yeah.
Well, they'll want a signed agreement. I mean, they
Okay.
just haven't put it together. They gave me a form from another municipality to look at that was
Okay.
basically the same, but so when I reach out to him and let him know that he can send over a proposed agreement.
Yeah, maybe we'll have this agreement sitting in front of everybody at the next meeting and choose your pleasure. Yes, sir.
Just a thought on the permits, and I don't, maybe Neil, you can intervene in this. If they're going everything on poles, the only underground they're probably gonna have is maybe from the pole to the house. If there's not a wire from the pole to the house and they drop underground, that would all be on private property. Am I correct? A drop would be on private property. So that, they would have to have a permit for that, correct?
No, they'd have to get the consent of the property owner.
Yeah.
If the owner didn't consent, they wouldn't get.
Right, the consent would be a subscription to their service, I would assume.
Yeah.
I don't know that for a fact, but yeah.
It'd be between them and the property owner.
You still have to call Julie though, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, to mark our underground utilities, yes. Yep.
Okay, so, without needing any permits, I guess we'll just wait for the agreement. We'll review the agreement and then we'll, pick your pleasure at that time. So that'll come back.
Are you gonna reach out to them?
I sure can.
Okay.
I sure can. All right, thank you for that. Number 9 under old business is the main family
Dollars.
I'm not saying you haven't saved this 35,000.
Anyways, at the last meeting, Jeremy had handed me a quote from John Haynes to fix the structure. Again, the main mausoleum is the private family mausoleum, not the big city mausoleum. So I had emailed the quote to Patience, who's been my contact with the main family, and she had, like I said, conferred with her siblings, and they would be willing to contribute $3,300, so it'd be $1,100 from each of them, to go towards the cost if the city would be willing to pick up the other 32. Quite frankly, I say we take it and run. Otherwise, we're looking at paying $6,500. And if they're willing to, because at first, before we realized it was going to be fixable and we thought we were going to have to tear it down, it was going to be in our lap and we were going to have to take care of it. This way, we're saving some money. The family, yes, we're saving resources. The family gets to stay in the mausoleum and we don't have to disinter and deal with that. So
Make your motion.
I make a motion that we accept the,
The main family mausoleum agreement of.
Thank
to
you.
Not exceed
Yes,
$6,500.
you know what? I don't even know why I'm here tonight.
And I will second that.
So, yeah.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the bid for $6,500, the main family mausoleum. Roll call, please.
Alderman Thomas.
Aye.
Alderman Brooks.
Aye.
Alderman Thompson.
Aye.
Alderman Harrison.
Aye.
Alderman Hendricks.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Dow.
I
Alderman Sawyer.
Aye.
will let Patience know that we accepted, and will you get a hold of John and see when he's available?
Yep.
And when he needs payment.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay, number 10 is bids for the water meter at Lake Bracken. Terry?
We actually had 2 bids for that project. Make sure I get the right one here. We had a bid from Advanced Plumbing and Mechanical for $2,345. And we have one from Midwest Meter Inc. for $1,750. And the nice thing is that's what they do. but it's a 6-inch water meter. I thought it was a little larger than that, but I was mistaken. But it's still a heavy meter, and the city of Galesburg does want it replaced. It should have been done probably a year ago. Apparently, we've been sitting on the meter and have not got it done.
I thought they were gonna do it. I
No,
thought the city of Galesburg. was gonna
no,
do it. Okay,
no, it's on us to do it.
okay.
They are wanting it done because that one has outlived its useful life and the tolerances are getting loose.
Okay.
So,
So for those in the audience, at Lake Bracken, there's a meter that reads we buy our water from Galesburg. We get a meter just like you do at your house. And the meter's been getting estimated for quite a while. So they want a new one, so we get an actual read. And finally got our bid, so it looks like we're ready to take some action. You choose.
and if there's no other discussion, I'll put forward a motion that we accept a bid of $1,750 from Midwest Meter Inc. from Edinburgh, Illinois, to replace that meter for us.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to replace the water meter at Lake Bracken. $1,700. $1,750. We'll do a roll call, please.
Alderman Thomas.
Aye.
Alderman Brooks.
Aye.
Alderman Thompson.
Aye.
Alderman Harrison.
Aye.
Alderman Hendricks.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Dow.
Aye.
Alderman Fletcher.
Aye.
Thank you for that.
Terry, will they have to shut the water off? Change it?
No.
Even better. Okay, so that concludes old business. Now we will move on to new business. Number one is Middle Diamond Lights, Legion Park, Alderman Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor. Me and Superintendent Derry and Mr. Aaron Winsky met the other night, because the Danny League, they had a game last Monday night and the lighting is after talking with Alderman Brooks, I would think, and I appreciate Aaron's time on doing this, but correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron. With the lights right now, if we do all this work, we're kind of putting Band-Aid on something that's gonna probably need totally replaced in a year.
Oh, you're 100% correct, because the lights that are out there are a sodium metal halide light, which is being phased out. They're hard to find. We can still find them. You actually have 17 of them, I think you said, Doug, in stock, that would get you through this, for maybe a year or two, whatever the lifespan of an HID light is. Certainly not the lifespan of an LED light, which is generally 50 to 60,000 hours. But the ballasts that are associated with them, some manufacturers are not even taking orders for new ones. Now I can still get some. I've recommended in the bid that we buy 5 of them because they're, I guess for lack of a better term, like hen's teeth to find right now. So, and it's not going to get any better.
Sure.
Not to sound doom and gloom, but that's the way technology is moving. And in less than 10 years, you will not even be able to buy anything but an LED bulb or fixture.
So I installed an LED light like this for my nephew that raises cattle. He wanted a light out there to shine, so he's watching cattle. Thanks, bright. This is what I approached Doug with for replacement light. And it tilts. So if you want to take a road trip with me, I'll go gladly show you the light.
Well, I have a picture of that particular fixture.
Well, it was a little different. Galesburg Electric sells them.
Right. Yeah, I talked to them about it.
Yeah.
And so those fixtures would be adequate if there's enough of them, and they would have to be mounted high enough. They would have to be at the top of those existing poles to meet the IHSA lighting requirements for a ballpark. So, so the requirements are 30-foot candles in the outfield and 50-foot candles in the infield. Right now at third base on the Middle Diamond, you have 12. And at first base, you have 2.5.
Because none of the first baseline poles are even lit up.
Right.
There, so there's definitely wires up.
Right.
So what my game plan is, if the council's okay, we table this. I'm gonna sit down with Aaron again, Chuck, the Parks Committee, and let's, no offense, Aaron, but if we're gonna spend the 12,000, let's not, maybe if we have to go up a little more, just get all new lights anyway and just start fresh.
Yeah, if we can help you with a light study for, at no charge, for the ball field, so that with the existing poles, we calculate the correct number of fixtures, the correct angle to put those at, et cetera.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions for Doug
They're
regarding the
already bashing me up
lights?
here.
So we will bring this back next time.
Hey, Doug, just because we approved the new budget
Just thank
doesn't mean you have to blow it,
We got
okay?
35,000 just sitting there, Tiffany.
For
I
the
wanna transfer
cemetery,
that
not the
over
ballpark.
to the ballpark.
Nope, it's for the
Now
cemetery.
it'll be on old business.
First, a skid, whatever.
A skid steer, that's right. I'm getting a skid steer.
Okay,
No, you're not, we're getting lights.
moving on, new business here, we have, number 2, we have Honor Guard Volunteer Service.
Yes, I would like to discuss potentially putting into our policy that any of our volunteer workers are still able to be paid whenever they are called to do that volunteer work. Like our firemen, when their pager goes off, they go. Our honor guard, if they have a veteran's funeral to go to, we should be proud that they are doing that. We should thank them. And there is a state law, but it is for municipalities of 51 or more employees. Just because we're small town USA, I still feel like we should honor that.
Well, even to have them clock out is okay, but not have to use their PTO time to go shoot rifles for a veteran. I mean, or to go to a fire call. I mean, if there's a fire call, they're not going to have time to clock out. They
Right.
need to get up to the department and go and just say, hey.
Right.
But, or a first responder,
Mhm.
I don't think that they should have to use their PTO time or sick time either. I agree with that. Told that they had to use their PTO time.
Okay, we'll put that at personnel then, we'll let that go through the committee.
Okay,
That
thank
would be
you.
the proper way to handle that. So the next time that personnel convenes, they'll discuss that specifically. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Okay, Doug, you're up again. School board.
Okay, so the middle diamond, the scoreboard, they said they're having trouble with it. The night we met out, me and Aaron met out there, he also did some troubleshooting on that. I would like to reach out and maybe get one more quote, couple more quotes to see. So I just put it on new business to go to old for next time and then bring some quotes back because it needs some work. The transmitter's on the back of the pole. It's a wireless connected scoreboard. So they were wondering why they didn't have to connect, they had to walk halfway out there for it to get a signal. So it needs turned around, and then whoever gets the bid can go through the scoreboard and get it top notch. So
Remember when we built that diamond, all that stuff that was out there was secondhand to begin with. The lights, the scoreboard, everything. So, it's time we put some attention to that. Thank you, Doug. Thank you for that. We'll bring that scoreboard back next time. Okay. That concludes new business. Now we'll move on to committee reports. Admin. Ellen?
I have nothing other than thank you, everybody, for working so hard on your budgets, getting everything done. Thank you, Star, for redoing those sheets, all of our chicken scratch and everything. And thank you, Susie, for helping me out with all of
Sure.
So, yeah, that's all I have. Thank you, everybody.
Next Star had to make me 7 different copies.
Yeah.
A lot goes into the budgets. It really does. It's hard to, it's hard to predict what you need and what you don't need and how much you need and whatever. So it's quite a process. Thank you, Ellen. Any questions for Ellen? We'll move now to street, water, EPC. Terry?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Approximately 2 weeks ago, I met out at the EPC plant with Neil and with Mike Gibbs, our wastewater operator. We were discussing how we want to move forward with the upgrades to the plant. And the one thing we really are going to need to do to run these new pumps that we're talking about replacing in the sludge well is to have good three-phase power out there. And that will be at Ameren's purview. I needs to contact them. I can do it if you want me to. That's kind of beyond Neil's capacity to actually do that.
They won't speak to us about power.
Right.
Remember, we ran into it down, we had the demolition across from your house on the storm sewer. I couldn't even deal with them on
Right.
Ameren relay. I mean, it's the bill holder.
So either you or Jeremy probably, you guys can figure out who wants to get in contact with Ameren regarding that.
Do you know if there's three-phase running close by anywhere?
Not that we could,
Not that we could determine for sure,
I'm
but
not the one you want to ask.
yeah,
Well, just throwing it out there, Chuck, we're thinking closest three-phase is the elevators,
Possibly.
possibly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a long ways away.
The pumps can be run in different ways, but you're losing a lot of efficiency and
Well, with the drives, you gotta have equal phases.
yeah. What
You
the,
can't have what I call residential three-phase. You gotta have factory three-phase.
Okay, so maybe either Jeremy or Terry will get in contact with them, get the ball rolling on that. Anything else, Terry?
no, nothing really on the water side, because we do need to get that water meter replaced. That's, and the other thing Galesburg has been kind of starting to get a little antsy on, so we'll get that under control. And I don't have anything else on the streets.
Any questions
Oh.
for,
can I speak to the water a little bit?
Sure.
With the meter, you've got multiple layers of water metering in your town. You have a master meter that's at Rack and Corners that measures that's what Galesburg bills you based on. You have, I believe, a meter at your water plant. And then you have residential meters. With the sum of the residential meters is what you get to recoup from the water that you buy. So with your leak detection that you talked about, the water loss thing is, it's not voodoo, but it's an impossible puzzle to solve. Every town, the best towns still have 10, 20% loss, but your metering, this meter may solve some of it. You may have to replace some residential meters. They have a 10 to 15 year lifespan, a lot of them. You may have 1,000 small pinhole leaks where it's just a drop every hour that contribute to that stuff. So I guess I'm commending you on moving forward on trying to find the leaks, if there are any big leaks, and the metering. And I think you need to probably consider looking at residential meters at some point. We'll look at the age of those. I can't remember when they were put in. So
It started in 2009,
that's what I was thinking.
but we've been replacing them.
Yeah,
It's like
we bought
fixed
quite a
15
quite a
go
few
bad.
since then.
Yeah, they'll go bad off and on, but I think your general battery life in those is, depending on the model, 10 to 15 years.
okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you, Neil. Any questions for Terry or for Neil? I took that over, didn't you?
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Lunch is
One
on
time.
you.
Yeah.
Next, we'll move to police. Ed?
Honorable Mayor, fellow council members, with the weather getting better, you're gonna see a lot more activity, i.e. traffic stops, roadside safety checks, things of that nature. Just be aware. They're out there. They're doing a great job. So,
I seen one of the new cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, going to the call.
Didn't honk or nothing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they gave you the.
Other than that, I have nothing.
Thank you, Ed. Any questions for Ed? All right, we'll move now to parks. Doug?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I think I spoke enough, so
You have
we're
spoken
good.
enough.
I'm gonna be quiet for once.
Any questions for Doug before after the meeting? Okay, EDC, Terry?
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Okay, before we get to our visitors, I wanted to.
I don't have anything to report either.
I didn't, well, we didn't want to hear it from you anyway.
Oh, that's fine. Other than Jack, I
Okay,
CC'd you in the
Alderman
email that I
Dowell,
sent patient.
please share with us.
I CC'd you in the email I sent patients and her family.
Oh, okay.
So
Thank you.
that way, if they come back with any questions, you can make your money, earn your keep. All right, that's all.
Sorry, Tiffany, that was not intentional.
Yeah, okay.
Any questions for Tiffany?
Fifth time this year already.
Okay, so before we get to the visitors, I want to bring up, in your minutes of the meeting last, we had discussed getting access for the treasurer login. And Jack was going to look at a couple of things as far as the
with the software company, and they are going to get it set up for you to have access to that. We're hoping that we go live with it in about 2 months. So until then, you're more than welcome to come in here and you can get on my computer during the day and get what you need.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Okay, we'll move to visitors. First, we have Jane Thomas regarding a memorial bench.
I'm gonna let, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna let Courtney go first.
We're gonna tag team this together.
Close
Okay.
there with what we're saying. We didn't know that we had it this way, but if that's okay with you guys.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Courtney Warner. Most of you guys know me, but for those of you who don't, I'm the proud daughter of former Mayor and Alderman John Spanky D. James. And we are here tonight to respectfully ask for your approval to place a memorial bench in honor of my dad. My dad had a deep love for the city of Abingdon and the people who lived here. He proudly served his community as both mayor and alderman, and he took the responsibility very seriously. He believed that public service meant what was doing right for the citizens and doing his part to make the community better. During his time in office, he worked hard to move Abingdon forward. He helped secure grants for the city, played a role in helping complete the sewer project, and Jane has a whole list more than what I have, and was always looking for ways to improve things for the people who call this town home. More than anything, he took pride in knowing that the work he was doing made a positive difference for the citizens of Abingdon. My dad didn't just hold a title of mayor and alderman. My dad truly cared about the people he was serving. Our family and friends would love to honor his dedication to this community with a memorial bench located outside of Stubby's Bar, facing Main Street if we can. And we also talked about if we raise enough money, we'd like to put one in front of City Hall as well. It's a place where people can that pass by every day, where they can sit, rest for a moment, and take in the town that we all care about. At this time, we're simply asking for approval from you guys to see if it's a feasible task that we could do. My dad believed deeply in this town and the people in it. It would mean the world to our family to have a small place where his memory can live on, somewhere that reminds people that he loved this community and was proud to serve it. Thank you for your time. And Jane has a list of accomplishments she'd like to read.
Well, the way this came about, just so you know, now it makes me. So Sean has always done a Alzheimer's fundraiser for several years, and she said she'd like to do something different, and I suggested, well, maybe we could raise some money for a bench. And so we started talking a little bit more about it and getting the word out a little bit. We discussed it, putting it out here, and then it was suggested that maybe in front of the bar might be a better place. It would be seen, used more, but like Courtney said, maybe still a possibility if we raise enough money, but we wanted to bring it up to you guys first. Yeah, the accomplishments are I reached out to Neil just for some wording because I had some, obviously things in my head. I worked with him the whole time he was mayor. So I knew a lot of what he'd done, but as far as getting the wording down right, Neil is really much better with that than I am. I know he worked just so much with getting grants for this town. The WIRC I know is huge. I think that was the first one that he had reached out to. That was a huge accomplishment, getting that. I know he worked on getting the houses in town, some houses in town fixed up. And some of the things that Neil helped me with, he had 4 annual MFT programs. He led the city through a nearly $3 million sanitary sewer replacement project on several streets. He facilitated a water main replacement project on several streets in an emergency situation. He initiated and completed a large painting and restoration project for the water tower. And then during his time as alderman, the planning and construction of a large storm sewer replacement project using ARPA funding. And with the ARPA, I know my husband Todd did a lot with the fire station ARPA grants, and Spanky, I still say Spanky, helped a lot with that voluntarily. So I wanted to throw that in there too. He applied for and received a grant to replace failing water mains on several streets, performed upgrades to the roads in the cemetery. And like Sean said, he did a lot of research on that on his own. Project to replace the sidewalk in front of the grade school, initiated a project to provide better waste water flow and quality conditions citywide, and he handled nearly all of the reporting requirements for COVID-19. So I know that you guys all know this probably. I don't know that it's necessary that we repeat it all, but I think it's important to get it out there. Everything you did.
But let's be honest, he didn't want a bench. He wanted a bronze statue. And I will only approve a bench in this spirit of this being the budget meeting. It says these are not budgets, they're appropriations.
Yeah.
Can we use some of Terry Don's money for the
There's donations. I don't see why we couldn't use
Right.
any kind of,
Well, and
because
for the one to go that you guys said in front of City
How
Hall,
much are you?
We just like, oh, you said.
Yeah, I looked into a little bit. The ones I was looking at, considering, I know schools have done them before, are the ones that they use out of the recycled milk jugs.
Mhm.
Those things last forever. I looked into those a little bit. The one I saw was around $500. But I haven't done a lot of research on it yet. I just was kind of Googling it. And we want one obviously that is secured to the ground.
Right.
So we need to do some more research on that, but I just
wanted to get approval before we.
Right.
and
yeah.
I think the one at Stubby's, that would just be, that's private property, so you don't really need our.
Well, that's what we were talking about too, and I was talking to Star a little bit about it, and we're not, I guess I'm not really sure how far
Yeah,
out.
are you wanting in the grass or on the sidewalk? Oh, the
On
sidewalk?
sidewalk.
Yeah.
And I do think that part of that, is it like a foot out? I'm not exactly sure.
I don't know
that
off the top of my
is
head.
the private property, but
Mhm.
we just wanted to cover our bases.
Right.
Make sure we're not doing something that
Well-
later on you guys are gonna say, you
Shut
can't
up,
do that.
I'm gonna state my opinion. I think if we,
Really?
yeah,
Hey, we're the zoning board now. We can do whatever we
Yeah.
want.
That's right.
in the grass area, build up, put it on bricks.
That would be
That way
nice.
it's,
Yeah.
Well, in the one for, instead of putting one in front of City Hall, we have this grassy area. And even when he was here, the three of us, we have talked and talked and talked about doing like a green space.
and I think a memorial park for.
And what if we did if we did that and we looked into it and we named it after him as well? I mean, we have Becky Lewis City Hall, and she was up here for years and did so much. I think it would be fitting if we made this and turned this into a green space and we
Well,
named it.
Right here. I mean,
Sean?
this is her deal, kind of. I mean, we're here to support her.
But
So
and
I
we
want-
do it
I
in
want
honor
her
of
to be happy
Spanky.
with-
Now it's not a bronze statue, but
It's still
I think
something
that, thank you for coming this evening. Most of us have all served with John, and we all know he's a remarkable man, and appreciated his efforts for the city. And, if it's okay with you, we'll work with you guys, get what we need, make sure, sounds like a couple, things going on here. If it's okay, we'll bring this back and have better plans and maybe have something to vote on or something maybe in the near future. It's okay with that? You guys okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for coming.
Yep.
So that concludes the visitors.
I
hang on, I have one
you
thing.
spoke enough
I
tonight.
need to say thank you to Star for her work this weekend. This poor lady had to come in on a Sunday. And
Rescue one of the wrestlers.
yes, one of the wrestlers at my program this weekend got arrested. His car got impounded. So I had to get on the phone. I had to call Star. I was like, can you meet me Saturday? She was like, yeah. She called me on the way up here. There's a car in his name. I was like, no, it's his dad's that lives 4 hours away. So then she had to come up on her Sunday and open City Hall for us to get this guy out. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Star.
Thank you, Star.
Thank you, Star.
Now,
On that note, I make a motion, we adjourn this meeting and go home. Thank you.
motion has been made and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.
Deal.